Graeme, is it worth clearing up the Alfredo Morelos situation? How is he, first of all, because I know you said he was a bit confused on Wednesday. What have you said to him in the intervening period?
We've carried on our message that Alfredo's our player. We're planning to build something here, and that's it. No one's met our valuation. We're not under an economic imperative to sell any player, and we want to try and push on as far up the league as we can and compete in every competition.
Given the window in China is still open, do you worry it still could be an unsettling month?
I don't worry for me personally. I worry for the player. I just want to make sure that he is focused on maximising his own talent here with us, and if we can focus him in on his game, I think it's going to be to his benefit in the long term.
With some of the figures mentioned, do you think his head's been turned in any way? Is that a concern?
I think everyone's head would be turned, but we have to focus him back in because it hasn't been done. It hasn't materialised. He's still our player, and we've got big games coming up, so he's got a fantastic stage here to go and showcase his talent, and he's got lots to learn and lots to develop, so we're confident we can help him reach that next stage.
So just to clarify then, by the time that the Chinese window ends and at the end of February, you're confident he will still be a Rangers player?
Yes.
Graeme, James was talking there how the senior players he thinks might have a role, because Alfredo's so young, and presumably you will have a role there as well with him.
Absolutely. We all need him to understand our position. We all need him to be firing for us to get where we want to get. Players, staff, fans, everyone needs to get behind him and give him the support he's already had, but even more if he should need it, to help him focus back in on what he's great at and actually get him firing. Because if he's firing, if he's flying, that makes him happy. You've seen him. He wants to score goals. He wants to play every game. He wants to be involved. He can do that here.
I guess with the figures being bandied about, both in terms of what he may have or could earn and what the club may have or could get in terms of a bid, is it in both parties' interest that you perhaps look at a new deal for the lad?
We're discussing all contracts at all times with all players. If a bid comes in for someone, it doesn't meet our valuation, we have to reassess their valuation in our eyes. But we'll be sitting down and talking to Alfredo throughout this week, throughout the next week as well, making sure he's happy, making sure he's content, because we want happy players, hungry, desperate to play for our club. So we'll be discussing his future and his targets with him this week.
And if there is that positive vibe or message from him, is that therefore something you think the club will look at?
Potentially, yeah. It's there for us. We have the facility to do that, but we have to make sure first and foremost the player's happy. Let's talk to him, and if he's happy with where he is at the moment, if he wants to talk about his contract, I've got a director of football up there who's fantastic at that kind of thing. I'll be there to talk to him about it as well. But we want people here focused on our message, focused on what we're trying to do, and we want them to be happy. We want everyone pulling in the same direction. Alfredo, I have to say, has been fantastically professional. He hasn't let any confusion or any speculation around the place affect his training, affect his mentality around the place, and we hope that continues.
So in that case, it would not affect your him selecting him at all?
Not at all.
And you mentioned the happy word quite a few times there. Would you say he's happy at the moment?
Yeah, I would. He's playing, he's scoring goals, he's top scorer in our country, so he's got to be happy. He's playing for a massive, massive club, let's not forget that. And if his ultimate aim is to be an international and play in the Premier League, we're fully content that he can go and do that and get those aims and dreams playing for us. And I think that our route into the Premier League, should be that the one he wants to choose, is an easy one, say, than some other countries.
James said there that the team have a point to prove, not just with Hibs winning Ibrox in the last visit, but also your victory over at Easter Road, where it was kind of a smash and grab job. Would you kind of go along with that?
I want to win the game. First and foremost, you've got to go and win the game. However you win the game, style comes after that, I think. Neil Lennon was quite candid with us in the manager's office afterwards. He said, just take them wherever you can get them, and I will. Hopefully the manner of it will be different tomorrow. Hopefully our manner of our performance will be different. We would like to impose ourselves upon them the way they did to us, and if we can do that, I'm happy that the players we have in the team can cause them problems. But it's about us making sure we do our job properly and not worrying about making a statement or getting one back on them or anything like that. We just need to go and take care of business tomorrow.
Did that make you feel less guilty after that chat with you?
No, not at all. I mean, you look at it and you think, I've been involved in games where you could do everything all day and be the better team and not win. We did it at home to Hamilton, where we had 29 efforts at the goal and we didn't score and we got beat 2-0 at home. And it's just one of those things. You have to put your chances away. You have to ride your luck at times. But we're hoping for a complete performance tomorrow. We're hoping for all elements to be right at it. If we do that, I hope it'll be a really, really good game and we come out on top.
How different a team are you from that game in December?
We're a very different team with a different vibe around the place. We're a different methodology, if you will, a different style of play. But we have to show the attributes that we showed when we went to Easter Road. We have to show that resilience, we have to show that grit, we have to show that competitive nature, as well as showing more with the ball than we did on that night. If we do that, then we put ourselves, as I've said, in a good place to go and get points.
Is this a game that could be made for somebody like Jason Cummings, given his
I knew you'd mention that. If Jason were to be involved and score a goal, I'm sure that his celebrations would be restrained and calm. But I'm happy for anyone to come and make a name for themselves, because we're going to need everybody in the squad. I said that to them before we went to Ross County. I said them again before we went to Fraserburgh. We're going to need everybody in the squad to contribute. And everyone so far is buying in, everyone's pushing each other on. They know that success doesn't just come for the individual, it's for everyone. For us as the staff as well, it's important we do our job properly to get everyone prepared and everyone in the right state to go and contribute if called upon.
It's been quite a feisty affair between the two sides in recent times. Is that something you touch on with the players at all going into this game?
I don't have to. They know about it. They know what it was like down there. They know what it was like at Ibrox. And big games at Ibrox in front of our support are always fantastic occasions. We want to make sure we take full part in that, make it a great occasion for our fans to celebrate and walk away from the ground happy. We only do that by doing our job properly. So we won't get caught up in anything too much in terms of emotion. We have to make sure we take care of the game first.
Can you just come back to the transfer window? You said at the start of the week that your squad was heavy. Obviously there weren't any other players leaving after that. Is that a difficult balancing act for you to keep all these players happy?
It is, but once again I've said to the players from the start, there's only 11 players as far as I'm concerned that are ever happy in a football squad. They're the guys who are playing. Everyone else's job is to take their job off them, to take their shirt off them. And if you're not in the team, I've got no time for people who are detracting from our message, detracting from what we're trying to achieve. Everyone has a job to make sure they bring positive energy to the group, to make us better on a daily basis. If you're not playing, make the guy who's playing train at his best, because if you do that, we'll all be successful, because he will take that into his matches. And the guys who aren't playing have as an important a job as the guys who do play. They have to make sure the environment's right, the training's right. If they go and do that, we're all successful together.
Were you expecting maybe more to leave? Does that make it more difficult to get that environment?
No, there's potential for people to leave. There's opportunity for people to leave. They didn't leave. They're around. They're our players, and I will utilise them as I see fit. But they have to make it so that I want to use them. They have to actually go out and bust themselves every day to prove that they're worthy of a spot in the team. And we have that at the moment. We have healthy competition at the moment, and we have a real good tempo and intensity around training, which is good for me as a manager because it gives me a bit of a headache, but that's why I'm doing the job.
Graeme, you said there was a potential for players to leave. Can you clarify that? Was that there were bids that had come in for players that were acceptable, but the players chose to stay?
There was opportunities for people to leave, that's all I'm willing to say. There was opportunities for people to play for other clubs. They've chosen to stay here. As far as I'm concerned, that's a massive positive for me, because people want to be involved and want to be a part of what we're trying to do. So if we can continue in that vein and make this a healthy atmosphere, make it a positive atmosphere, you attract players, you attract people who want to be like-minded and pull together. And if you do that, then we've got a chance of building something.
I just go back to Alfredo for a minute. I know you said he was confused. What exactly? I mean, obviously, you said he's also professional. He's trained well. He's not got a problem. But how did the confusion kind of?
There's loads of stuff being talked about. There's loads of stuff about different clubs. There's loads of stuff about different countries, and we just have to make sure we sit down and talk to him about what's actually coming and what's concrete. And the reality of the situation is, he's ours. He's our player. We want to get him to that next level here. Nothing that came in was acceptable to us, and he knows that now. So he doesn't need to listen to anything other than what we're talking to his agent about, what we're talking to him about. Everything out with this environment, he should just ignore if he can. And I understand it's difficult. I understand some of the figures are mind-boggling, but we possibly in the past may have looked to move him on to make a vast profit. We didn't look to do that. We looked to hold on to our best players so that we can actually go and push on to the top end of this league and to be challenging in the cup. So if we do that, we need to make sure that everyone's contributing.
Was it a frustration for you then that the stories were in the papers and the figures were there?
What's the point of being frustrated? It's just going to happen. It's going to get out there. Things are going to be speculated upon. All we have to do is control our message in-house and make sure the players understand where we're coming from. I think we've done a good job of doing that so far.
He said one thing after the game, immediately after the game on Sky. He'd heard all about these astronomical figures. He'd had a chance to, look after his family for a long, long time, but you weren't sure how substantial that chance actually was. What did you mean by that? Was that
it's the fact of he's with us at the moment, and until things are signed, I've always found this in football. Until things are signed and across the line, it's all just speculations and it's ifs, buts, and maybes. Until things are actually concrete and done, then there's no point wasting energy on it. There's no point wasting your time on it. And let's not forget, Alfredo's only 21. He's only been here for half a season. There's lots and lots more to come from him. So you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg with him. He's got lots of developing to do. He's got lots of potential that we hope to tap into, and we hope to improve him. So anything that we were offered, we think we can get more than that if we choose to take it.
Graeme, you mentioned a point there that you're honest enough to admit that perhaps in the past Rangers might have accepted such an offer for a player. Perhaps that's what's surprising a lot of people, that you were able to resist the temptation to sell a player at the quoted price. Does that signify not only a change in the football department here, but a change in the business end of Rangers as well?
You'll be the better judge of that than me, because I can only talk about my term in charge. I'm under no economic imperative to do anything. So I've not been constrained by anyone. I've not been given advice by anyone to anything other than make a good footballing decision. If it would get to a point where the figure becomes too much for us to turn down, I'm sure I'll be informed of that. I haven't been informed of that as such, and as far as I understand it, the footballing decision came down to me whether I wanted to keep him. And unless we can actually bring someone in of the same quality or better quality, it doesn't make sense in a footballing term to weaken our squad, to strengthen our opponents, because we're trying to actually push on and actually close the gap. If we do that this season, that's what this season's been about. We want to push on and actually get to a higher plane than we currently occupy.
Forgive me, I know managers don't like talking about other players, but you were linked with a potential move for Ollie McBurney. Was there anything in that?
Nope.
Not at all. Can you go through your casualty list?
Ryan Jack had his operation this week. He will be a significant time out, unfortunately. Kenny Miller took part in full training and will be considered for selection from the start of next week. Lee Wallace is improving. He won't be back currently yet, but he's getting better. Russ McCrory is still not running as of yet. He still, as pain indicates, but has a specialist appointment next week. Bruno Alves is moving on. Is not out training with the squad yet, but has upped his load. So we're happy with where he is at the moment, considering we're only a month away from what was a significant injury in a quite troublesome area. In your lower calf is quite hard to get right. Who've I missed?
Dorrans?
Graham Dorrans is bang on schedule. So he's really happy with his ankle. His ankle's looking good. Actually looks like an ankle, which is the first bit you look for after an ankle op. The swelling's coming out of it really well. He's got good range in it. Our physio staff and our medical staff are really happy with his progress so far. Jordan Rossiter is in Spain currently. He's going to be taking part in our under-20 games programme against Valencia this week. So we're happy for him to get some minutes and just push his fitness levels up a little bit. So hopefully he'll be available selection after Monday.
Given Ryan Jack had that injury caused by a bad challenge, and you heard Craig Levine yesterday saying that every player in Scotland is protected from Scott Brown. In terms of protection, do you feel that referees are getting it right at the minute when you're seeing some of the injuries that we are?
Injuries are part of the game. No one's going to get everything right, but I do believe that it's not just defenders that forwards need protecting from. There's always the saying, oh, it's a forwards tackle. But forwards are as likely to injure defenders as the other way around. So I just think the degree of sense has to come into it, degree of common sense has come into it, and I think for the most part what I've seen the referees, they're getting it just about right. As to Ryan's injury, it's a bad injury, but at no time did I say or did I think, and nor do I still think, that the boy keeper intended to hurt him. I think it was a coming together, and it looked bad on the TV, but once again I stand by the fact that I don't think there was any intent there from the player.
Do you agree with Craig Levine's specific point?
About protecting players or about Scott Brown? No way I'm going to sit in a Rangers press conference and talk about Scott Brown.